All right, let's go to 50's Instagram and see what if any new developments are there. This might have been Saturday morning. This is Saturday morning. And Diddy's already on his bullshit. 50's already on his bullshit. I still believe in Santa, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and true love. Don't even try to tell me different. 50 Cent said, "Good morning. I fell asleep wild early. Is anybody up? Oh, y'all coming from the club. Got you a little ex-worker." All right, so we still on the ex-worker train. We're going to keep up the ex-worker train. What else we got here? Right? Donna Summers, she works hard for the money. Little ex-worker theme music. How's your day going so far, little ex-worker? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to get help soon. All right? See, he clowns his way through this. It's all love. He said, "Damn, I lost my ring. I'm irritated right now." Wait, one of them little ex-workers might have took it. You know, you can't trust nobody these days. Especially your baby mama if you didn't know she was an ex-worker. You definitely can't trust her. The deep fake melding of your boy Diddy Steen right here. This is Diddy Steen. Okay? That's hilarious. 50 said, Boosie said, where the F is his friends? They not saying nothing because they didn't know he was recording everything. Wait till I get the tapes. They ain't saying nothing because maybe they feel betrayed, huh? Maybe they feel like he got something on them. Or maybe they're distancing themselves because they know it's true and they don't want no parts of it. You know? Or they're calling him behind the scenes and he's an innocent man. I'm not a crook. But there we go. See, deep fake technology. Listen here. This dude, you wouldn't question this dude's existence. That's how far technology has come along, right? Which is horrible and dangerous. Believe that shit. Yo, I'm not gonna front. Nicki got all the bitches. I looked in the crowd and was like, "Damn, baby, what you doing?" Then threw my jacket at these little ex-work. This is the video of I'll Be Sure telling everybody that he's putting out his documentary and that if you hear how he ended up in a coma, you'll want to call Homeland Security yourself. Now, is he just talking for his, to promote his book? Is he talking for people to be talking about I'll Be Sure again? Or is he talking because it's true? Who knows? We're going to find out soon enough.
We're going to be producing the I'll Be Sure life story. So hold on to your britches, and you'll really understand how I ended up in a coma. You're really going to need to call Homeland Security.
I don't know. Is he promoting or is he, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you want? I don't understand why nobody, if it's all true, why y'all wasn't talking that shit before before you was in a coma, bro? 50 said, "Man, Diddy got your head cracked." Wait, I'm not gonna lie. Some of this shit funny to me. Why nobody said nothing about this fool but me? Facts. 50 Cent, when the boys show up at Puffy crib again, he gonna be like, "So let me tell you about them people on those tapes."
I want you to fade, nigga. Since it's entertainment, let me beat the shit out of you on TV.
I don't know, dog. Old girl looked like she had you in a compromising situation. She ain't no little
What house you? Get up.
Old girl getting crushed.
I'm calling you out. What you want to do, Curtis?
Steven can go to hell. I'm gonna beat your ass.
I want you to fade, nigga.
50 said, but he never said it wasn't true. Right? Offered him to fade, offered to fight, but never said it wasn't true. That is a fact right there. So I didn't hear him say it wasn't true either. Right? Got an assortment of Stevie J pictures here. Stevie J, Jocelyn calling me gay doesn't bother me. 50 says swipe left. All right, so we will. Jocelyn Hernandez accuses Stevie J of that was a Freudian slip and shit for him. Jocelyn Hernandez accuses Stevie J of gay porn addiction. Receipts? Jocelyn accuses Stevie J of being gay. Diddy surfaces in public again, speaks on camera with Stevie J in tow in the background, all rat faced and shit. Look at him. But yeah, to your point, Jonathan, I do believe 50 will sue his baby mama. I wonder if she kept it up there. It was up there. I was told that it was taken down, but then I checked and it was still up there. I don't know if it's still up there now, but 50 don't play that shit. She gonna have to pay him by Monday. Velez said, wonder if it's Stockholm Syndrome that they had. Stockholm Syndrome, or I'm gonna get away with this until I can't, and then do the same thing he would do to them, throw him under the bus. I just feel like with Cassie, it's the same thing. Like, you was a yes woman for all of these things. Is it regret now? Is you sitting with your boyfriend crying on the couch talking about it, bringing up a bunch of memories that you probably could have avoided yourself, but chose not to? Because that happens. You know, people do foul shit. Then later on, they claim they're not a foul person and that it's somebody else's fault that they were being foul. I don't buy that shit sometimes. So I don't doubt that he's going to sue her. And, Stockholm Syndrome, I think that's got to be something different. I don't know. Because if that was the case, Velez, we'd be able to use Stockholm Syndrome for every bad situation we keep ourselves in. Sometimes it's our own up. And I think Cassie up. Because if she don't take no responsibility in any of this, that shit's weird to me. Why? Because you was around for a long time. And you got what you wanted for a long time. I agree. It wasn't too bad when it was benefiting for her career. I feel she agreed to everything in looks of the success, and when he took it too far, she was too involved to retract. It's quite possible. Like they were there for too long in a business. It's not like you were locked or chained in a basement or some shit somewhere. You was in a business. You were at shows. You were at parties. You were at dinners. You were outside. You were in offices. You were in studios. What are we talking about here, bro? You guys weren't slaves tied to a pole downstairs. You can't sell me that shit. I feel like she cut her hair because she felt Diddy was right and was like, you know what, this might be a good look for me. Not because he had his thumb on her forehead or his foot on her neck and made her do it. I don't believe that. Diddy's male escort interrogation video surfaces. 5 years old. Video identical to Cassie allegations, all right? Now, this guy's wilding. I'm going to show you the wilding first.
Okay, so this guy, Jonathan Odie, is making news all over the place. This is a guy who went up in 2018, ran up in a Trump hotel or something like that and just shot it up.
All right, look at this dude. He's wilding out. Look at him. He came over there with the whole flag. Buddy just got out of there real quick.
Jonathan Odie is making news all
Lady
over
bonked out. Dude got out of there.
the place.
Now here come crazy boy.
This is a guy who went up in 2018, ran up in a Trump hotel or something like that and just...
This guy look credible right here. Yeah, he got the giant flag and the hammer in his hand in the Trump hotel lobby.
Shot it up. He was arrested. He had a shootout with the police.
Right, he just busting, just lighting shit up.
Arrested and was taken in for interrogation. And when they started to interrogate this man, he started saying very off the wall things. He's making all these different like crazy statements, but there is one statement.
He didn't even have his socks on. He did all this before he even had his socks on. He's wilding.
That's standing out and is getting a lot of attention. He mentioned being P. Diddy and Cassie's sex slave and contracting herpes from them, and a settlement that supposedly Diddy had paid out. He also said that these rappers and stuff, they're moving drugs around on private planes to avoid detection.
Well, I mean, of course, rappers are gonna. If you got a private plane, not just rappers, anybody got a private plane. You got a private plane and you got a brocaine addiction. You're gonna move coke around. Doesn't necessarily mean you pushing weight. Doesn't make you a Flores twin. But if you got a brocaine problem, it's not like you're gonna leave in your private jet from LA to Atlanta without your brocaine. It's not happening.
By the DEA. I mean, this guy.
Now they flash, really flashes,
wild, but
and now they busting at him. He had his hands up. Now they busting at him.
when you relate it to what's going on with Diddy and Cassie right
Look,
now,
put his hands
you're
up
gonna
again.
see that some of the
Now he's
things
busting
this
back.
man is saying, I mean, they are.
First thing I thought when I saw this is first thing I usually think when there's an interrogation video after something like this. If that was a black or brown man, it wouldn't be no interrogation video. It would have been over with already.
Some of these things are literally in the things that are alleged in the lawsuit.
Look, they're having a whole shootout.
So
Gone.
just take a listen and tell me what you think is crazy.
Ah, my bad. He's tiptoeing through the tulips. Oh, ding, 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 ding. All right, boom, goes down, gets up. He's doing the ground is lava dance. You can see the muzzle flashes coming off through the reflection. He dancing. Is this guy a guy that has the information, or is this guy another case of too much drugs, too much conspiracy theory videos about this?
I had sex with Cassie and Sean.
All right, man. Why is this crazy man 5 years ago corroborating something that Cassie's saying in a lawsuit last year?
Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know
That's what
this?
he wanted.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy,
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself
Yeah.
these days. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part of what's called the Boule. The
The
Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
It's the black people. Okay. I'm from Africa, so I'm not a racist.
Okay.
Okay, you're my brother, so I like black people.
Okay.
My mom, I was raised by an African woman in my house. Okay. She was just a servant, but she was
Think of the delusion that these people talk with, right? Listen to what he just said. I'm South African. I'm from South Africa, so I'm not racist. I can't be racist. You know, I was raised like, well, my mom, like, you know, in the house, there was an African lady, like, yeah, she was a servant. Like, he don't hear what he's saying, right? They don't hear what they say. They don't understand how it looks and how it sounds.
Thursday, turning to Friday, basically, I went to Donald Trump. I went through the gates. I took I jumped the fence and I took the American flag, I put it in the front desk, and I blew up the chandelier. Basically, what I did that for is to transmit a statement to the American people and to Donald Trump that we're not accepting any more corruption and abuse.
All right, so it's looking to me like this interrogation or this guy's obsession is more of a Donald Trump obsession, right? It begs the question, like Chucky's saying in the chat, exactly, how does he know this? How does he know what's happening in Diddy and Cassie's bed? Huh? That she tells us what's happening in their bed.
I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's his attorneys, which are Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes.
Okay.
Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5, okay? When I take Sean the threat of death on me, okay? I don't have it, but I can make it available under secrecy. That means that I wouldn't be liable because I don't want to be getting framed for anything, okay?
What?
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes.
Bruh, I believe Buddy wholeheartedly. I believe him. To me, that dude ain't lying right there, dog. All that other mumbo jumbo was him talking about what other people were doing. Trump is doing this. He's embarrassed over that. With this, He's like, I did this, I was this, they considered me this. These are the people that it came about with. These are the number of encounters that we had, and this is what happened. I believe this motherfucker, boy. In case you missed that, Odie just claimed that he was an ex-slave for Puff Daddy and Cassie Ventura, and that Combs would, trying to find the right YouTube word, y'all, whatever, while telling Odie what to do with Cassie, as he, Puff Daddy, would conduct business by the phone. I believe, buddy, this is no different than what she was saying. You know, he probably got a dude like him tied up somewhere in every state, in every country.
Now, how does this lead to war start from?
Okay.
The Mercedes family, Ben Mercedes, that works with Mark Garagos. Mark Garagos used to be Michael Jackson's attorney.
Yeah, out in Los Angeles.
Yeah. He had he drugged Michael and they OD'd him, okay? He didn't overdose. They OD'd him because they keep the royalties of the music. Michael alone made $860 million alone last year, okay, in 2017, which who keeps that royalty? The music companies. Who represents the media and entertainment in the United States? Most of them, Mercedes does. Kenny Mercedes, which is Gruber Mercedes Shire out of New York. Okay? So what they've been doing is they've been promoting a hate agenda against Trump. So people hate him.
We got what we needed out of that conversation. What he said about Cassie and Diddy gives credence to everything else he's talking about. Instead of the other way around where that craziness should make that look bad, nah. That's making this craziness have a little bit more, oomph to it. But you see, the moment he was done with Diddy, the moment he was done with Cassie, with the part, he sat his ass back. This right here, I believe, though. Sits forward about to tell them what he did. All right? Before that, this was all conspiracy theories and just vague shit that, the Illuminati and Bohemian Grove and the Bushes and blah, 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 right? Same shit we've been hearing for 20 years. Then he sat up and said, this is what I did for Diddy and Cassie.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. I had like 15 encounters and I heard a lot of business. I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they did Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
So he's saying there's a video. He took a video, he turned it over, they gave it back. He says he threw everything out, but he might could get it. He might could get his hands on it.
My settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because otherwise I'll be sued. So I let it be, but they've been following me, and they've had, Mark Garagos has had the FBI on me, has had other agencies looking at me and spying on me, okay, because they want to set me up as an extortionist. Like if I was extorting Sean for money. It's wrong. Basically what happened is Diddy and Ross, which they're good buddies, okay, they're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay?
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter, okay?
Right.
Basically, he's Arab, Palestinian, okay? The Ciroc agenda, okay, is basically binge drinking poured out on a youth. They promote binge drinking and drugs.
Gotcha.
The hip-hop agenda was laid out by Obama during his last presidencies.
Okay, so here we go again with conspiracy theories. About an agenda in hip hop. If there was an agenda in hip hop, it started a long time ago.
Purposely. That's why they had Tupac killed. Because when they kill them, you gain fame. When people, your record sales go up, and then people listen to your lyrics and everything, and then you become famous. Okay, that's how they do it. All right.
Everything is they. The only things he said he's done, we've seen on tape. We've seen him shoot it out with the cops in front of the Trump Tower, and we also we have corroboration from Cassie on what was happening behind closed doors at Diddy's.
Tupac's still alive.
Tupac's still alive, according to this guy. See, now here we go. Is this killing the credibility of that, or is he just repeating all of the conspiracy theories that we hear over the internet?
He's in Cuba.
Oh, he's in Cuba.
Basically, what happened is the following.
To any of my Cubans out there, man, there's some from Cuba that I got to talk to. If y'all have seen Tupac, y'all let me know, man.
The hip hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. They move. You need to inform the DEA. They move all the dope. Okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by DEA.
Okay.
Inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high grade powdered MDMA. They move cocaine, and they move liquid cocaine in their bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine. I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time. All right, he calls it G-juice, but it's liquid cocaine.
See, but he act like they're running around with 100 keys or 100,000 bottles of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're dope heads. They're running around getting lit themselves on airplanes, having the amazing time. You know what I'm saying? Cool. The interesting part is, forget the smuggling, because that, to me, that's not smuggling. It doesn't seem like it's with the intent to sell. You know what I'm saying? The way he talks about it. The shit is, what was the filth that was going on? For some reason, I believe it. I believe it. How would he know what she was going to say 5 years later? She said it just like that. He said he had 15 encounters. He said he was back and forth with them. He was able to hear many a conversation. He was able to hear many of agenda back there. But when it comes to him vouching for himself and what he did himself, who wants to go admit that they were a sex slave for Diddy and Cassie? You know, I kind of feel Gene Deal when he says, hey, man, that's more damning evidence. But not for the sake of, yeah, I get it. They'll pop him for trafficking even a bottle's worth of liquid whatever, or a baggie's worth of powder whatever. You know, yeah, you get in trouble for that. You're not supposed to be flying with that, right? But it's not like they got, 150 bricks in the bathroom. It's not what he's talking about. But he is talking about being an ex-slave to Cassie and Diddy. And the way he says it, she sounds very complacent in it. He didn't say her and I were used as slaves. He said he was used as a slave. So you take from that what you want.
Crazy, man. So I want to backtrack, right? I want to backtrack to a comment you made earlier about Diddy and how, over the years he's been having all these run-ins with the police. Do you think the feds took notice of that? And they, at this point, they like, yo, we're going to crack down on Diddy?
What happens is that the police will bring in a CI and will use him like she was a $3 hoe. That's a confidential informant. They'll let you do crimes, long as you don't do no murders and stuff like that. They'll let you go around and pay you. When I was in law enforcement, dog, they paid confidential informants $250 for revolvers.
Bruh.
$500 for automatic weapons. $750 to $1,500 for semi-automatic guns and rifles and machine guns and shit like that.
Remember, what were they giving Saul per brick he turned over to them? A stack or more, something like that?
Some confidential informants got payment like that. And plus, they get 8% of a case. 8% of a case. So if they bring in about, just say, They bring in a case $100,000. That's 8,000. What's that? What's that? $8,000. That's 8,000. They bring in $1 million case. $1 million case. That person is getting $80,000. I mean, like $80,000 on it. I think if you're talking about 8%, you know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say this: confidential informants get paid good.
We learned that quickly when we saw the long list of money that Saul made in like a year or two. Crazy amount of money.
But Puff was a millionaire. Him being a confidential informant, him getting money like that, it was favors. He been getting favors and been paying law enforcement people for years to protect him. You understand? To protect him. We had a lot of people on the payroll when we was doing security. Everybody had, somebody might have this first 10 hours, that 10 hours, or whatever. He was paying law enforcement. He had a budget for law enforcement. Now, if something goes wrong, those people got friends in certain places. Then plus he tells his handler, yo, can you make this go away for me?
And if you can't, well, then what am I paying you for?
I'll give you this and that. Now, that could be a lot of speculations or whatever like that. But why would you have or be working for a FBI agent if you're not an informant?
Right.
Why? So when you got that kind of money, you could hire people to make a lot of things go away for you. Like you hire lawyers. Those lawyers have police officers and people working for them and investigators. Those investigators were former officers.
Facts. So
all of them in the backyard in Diddy bed together.
So what you think happened? If he was an informant, like what made him turn
in the bed?
Turn on him.
Like I said, some people could retire.
Yep.
His name is too much in the news. Like, listen here, bro. They don't want you to be always in the news in a negative form. There's people that's probably worse than Diddy, but they not always in the news.
I said this yesterday. At some point, they say, why are we going to protect this guy? This guy's hot all the time. He can't keep his mouth shut. He can't keep things quiet. He's always in the news. We can't do the Weinstein. We can't stop. We gotta give them Weinstein. Get Weinstein out of here. All right? We protected him for long enough. He's making us look crazy. Look, get him out of here. Cosby, get him out of here. Throw him too. I'm good. Who knows?
In the negative form. And then, like I said before, when he went against one of the world's biggest distributors of alcohol and spirits, they put out a campaign against him. They called their friends. They made him look real bad in the media. And a lot of that shit didn't go away, bro. It just compiled. Well,
on to the next thing.
And now, with Cassie with her stuff, that Jonathan Odie, Lil Rob, and the 4 other people that filed cases. I think he got like 3 to 4 other cases that's filed against him that they trying to work out instead of going into court.
He said it from the beginning there. He said Diddy was walking into the feds with Kirk Burroughs. Who knows? He could have worn out his welcome there. And they said, get him out of here. Enough. All I know is Diddy's ran out of goodwill amongst his famous friends that we can tell. I mean, for all we know, he gets off or we see an arrest warrant pop up. All I know is Monday is come and gone. Business hours are officially over. And I ain't heard no news. We're going to look into it right now.
After the Diddy raids happened and your stuff went viral for predicting that or speaking on that before it happened, logically the next question I would have for you is, what do you think is next for him after the whole situation with the raids?
Yeah. I find it funny that people be like saying, oh, he the popo, of course he know. So y'all think Homeland Security, U.S. attorneys, DAs in New York going to celebrate something or tell something to a cop, an ex-crooked, alleged, according to y'all, cop from Compton, California, what their every move going to
So
be?
that's what they
No,
saying.
like I said,
They saying that Reggie Wright got word from Homeland Security that it was going down. See, that's what we're dealing with on the internet. All he did was use his better judgment to say this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. It worked. He used his experience and his judgment, and it worked, right? And then when it worked, people that don't use those things and don't, they gotta say, well, somebody told you that was happening. You knew. This is what we're dealing with on the internet. It is what it is. There's more of them than us.
I just speak from common sense.
Common sense, easy.
Knowing things, knowing how shit works. But it's funny to me. That's what everybody that want to hate on Reg be like, oh, yeah, he's of course, he was the popo. I ain't been a motherfucking popo for 30 years. Police hate me more than he hates y'all because of the people I've been around and the things that I have done. Y'all see how that white cop was talking and all of that? That's how they think. You don't supposed to be. They believe birds of the feather flop together and all of that. You walk like a duck, you crack like a duck, you're a duck, They believe all those terms and all of that. So they ain't going to share anything with Reggie Wright Jr., especially on an investigation like that. So let's stop that. Let's stop that comments right now. But today, I'm telling y'all, what's happening right now after these words is niggas niggas are shitting like crazy right now. People are going worry. Every time they door knock on the phone ring, is that the police? Are they coming?
Who though? Who? All right, y'all give me y'all list of people in the chat that y'all think they coming for. All right, who's on this long list? Who's on the Diddy list?
They call it. They want me to come because you're gonna have two type of people that's the law enforcement gonna be contacting now. They were gonna be contacting victims, meaning some of the men that laying up there with their wives and acting like they're gonna be getting contact. Some of them done did some heterosexual stuff. Some of them done did some gay stuff, but they're gonna be getting contact. But more importantly, who's gonna be getting contact? It's victims as well. Well, I talked about the victims. It's suspects. People that were doing shit with him at the Diddy parties. And so, man, there's only one person that I'm worried about.
Who that?
That's been bragging about and used to brag about going to Diddy parties.
Say that shit.
That I hope they don't contact them in the month of, well, I hope they never contact me. But definitely not from April and May. And hopefully we make it to June. I hope like hell they don't contact him because y'all know I'm a major Laker fan.
Oh,
y'all know I am.
No.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Oh, no. It's y'all's GOAT. LeBron. Y'all's GOAT. LeBron.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
But people like this, they're going to start erasing stuff like this, so y'all better get them, tag them, save them. Because look what my boy LBJ23 said. Damn, bomb first. People like that. And y'all, I love that nigga as a basketball player.
We saw Mahomes was hiding their shit, so everybody that been to a Diddy party hiding their invite.
Right after MJ and Kobe. Kobe, y'all know, is my favorite. Shaq is my second favorite. And then, of course, LeBron. And I hope like hell they don't contact people like that. But trust me, it's a lot of people like that. That's going to be, That shit in bricks right now. Y'all watch?
Yep. How's this right here?
Yep.
Relax.
See this body right here?
Hold on, wait. It's a hair right there. Hold on.
Stand by. The next few months gonna be real interesting because they going through these tapes. They going through them, and they got some tapes. They got some tapes. People that was on no planes, y'all hear that? How they subpoenaed everybody that ever flew on the plane with Puffy.
All right.
Where'd they go?
So we saw them moving that plane around up and down Cali that night, the night before he got raided. So were they cleaning house? Or were they collecting everything, get it to one spot? Who knows?
Who was all on that plane with them? That's what's about to happen, y'all. Ain't shit happening. Ain't nothing gonna happen real soon. It's gonna be a major investigation going down for the next 3 or 4 months. But y'all gonna learn a lot about some of y'all heroes. Y'all gonna learn about a lot of y'all.
Good. If everybody's heroes is out there creating victims, then go get them. Go get them. I don't know that Puff would have those videos, those trophies locked in his house. That's the stupidest shit you could do. Like, where he would lock them, I don't know. But I'm sure there's other options than at the crib, especially after Lil Rob and Cassie and Jonathan Odie done said what they said about you. You really would think that dude wouldn't have that shit in the house. It's kind of mind-blowing. P. Diddy and Tupac Shakur's murder. There's some truth to it, detective says.
Name has come up when it comes to major crimes, even murder. We take a look at the cases that have almost landed Diddy in hot water up until now. Thanks for joining me for Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Sean Combs is a bit of a chameleon. He's always changing. He's been Puffy, the record producer and founder of Bad Boy Records. Then he morphed into an entrepreneur with his own Sean John clothing line. But Combs' name also came up many, many times in an incident 3 years earlier, in 1996 in Las Vegas, thousands of miles from New York, when Tupac Shakur was murdered. Combs wasn't in Vegas that night, but a man who claimed he knew Combs, who then went by Puffy, was. His name was Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Keefe D. is now charged with ordering Tupac Shakur's murder. Keefe D. told the cops years ago that Combs offered $1 million to anyone willing to kill Tupac Shakur and Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight. It's important to note that Sean Combs has never ever been charged in connection to Tupac Shakur's death, but his name came up many times in the grand jury testimony that led to Keefe D being charged. A witness testified that Keefe D and his nephew...
It was like Keefe D was dying for them to arrest him for this whole Tupac thing. You know what I'm saying? For the last 20 years, it's like Keefe D wanted to go to jail for this.
Orlando Anderson were in charge of the relationship between their gang, the Southside Compton Crips, and Bad Boy Records. Death Row Records was connected to the Bloods. The night that Tupac Shakur was killed, a witness testified that Eric Zip Martin, an associate of Sean Combs, gave Keefe D the gun the night that Tupac was shot. Joining me to discuss Sean Combs...
This fucking guy. Bro, give it up already. Supposedly, Diddy had put money on Pac's head. Supposedly, right? And it was never carried out. But then, by happenstance, they got into it with him. Orlando and Pac got into it, and they jumped Orlando in the MGM Grand. And they left. And these guys did what they did, and they got at him, right? And then they said, well, shit, we got him. Might as well hit up Puff and tell him to run that money. Supposedly, allegedly, by Keefe D, Puff supposedly gave the money to Zip, and Zip never paid Keefe D in the Southside Crips. That Zip pocketed the money, and it was kind of a strange, awkward situation between them. Zip said there was no money, and then they see Zip spending money. You know what I'm saying? Zip is deceased now, but that was the word, and that's what Keefe D was saying. So let's see how they put it together. This guy right here is a hip-hop cop, all right? One of the task force, one of the COINTELPRO guys that they put to bother hip-hop. He's holding on to these two little pieces of whatever's going on up here, but I always see him putting his 2 cents in on these stories, so let's take a look.
His prior history and brushes with the law are two people who know a lot about it. The first is Tim Jansen. He's a former federal prosecutor. And also Derek Parker. He's a retired New York Police Department detective, also the original hip hop cop and author of the book Notorious COP. So thanks to both of you for coming on. Derek, I'll start with you.
Allegedly.
On this. Is this whole sex trafficking thing, is this the chickens coming home to roost as far as Sean Combs is concerned?
Well, yes, there's a lot of allegations that have come out recently with these civil lawsuits about his involvement with some possible sex trafficking. So that's been very, very in the news. It's been newsworthy lately. So yes, it is something that's being looked into.
In 1999, when we had the shooting at the nightclub in Manhattan, you were part of the group of police officers who took Sean Combs into custody. Tell me what happened.
When I got to the Midtown North Precinct, it was a lot of people out, a lot of cops. As soon as I walked in, all the attorneys applauded me. They said, finally, somebody with brains is here. So I had talked to the attorneys and told
That sounds like some bullshit. Some fanfare. Dude gave himself some props.
them, listen, I just got a lot of cops. As soon as I walked in, all the attorneys applauded me. They said, finally, somebody with brains is here. So I had talked to the attorneys and told them, listen, I just got here. The chief told me I was in charge, but he was a higher rank than I was. And I said, I'm going to try to situate everybody because I knew they had attorneys, so their right to counsel was already there. They couldn't be questioned by us or anyone. So I took Puffy, my partner took J-Lo, and we put them in cars and we took them back to the Midtown South precinct because that was the precinct of occurrence where Club New York was. Now, while I was there, I talked to the detectives that were going to have the case, and the biggest concern was Sean Combs, the shooter. Did he have any involvement in this, the shooting of the woman in the club, and possibly several other people that might have got injured? Shine was definitely there. He was.
Look at Shine, man. Shine, all grown up. What is he, Prime Minister of Belize now? Salutes to Shine, man. Got 10 years of his life took. You know, you was there to be an artist. You wasn't there to be nobody's security. Shit went left, and nobody had your back after that. You know, so salutes to you.
Jamal Barrow, that's his name. He was caught with the gun coming out of the club by the uniform officers. He was arrested on the spot, so he was brought to the precinct as well. While we were there at the Midtown South precinct, we were told by the DA's office, because we had to notify them, that Matt Bogdanis, who was the DA in charge, he didn't want anybody spoken to or questioned until he got there, and then he would deal with the attorneys. And then we took it from there.
To this day, the victim in that case says that Sean Combs is the one who shot her, that it was not Shine who shot her. What is your response to that?
Well, I can only tell you what I remember. I remember that night there was a lot of things going on. There was a lot of police brass around, a lot of detectives. And basically we had several people that had to be interviewed or spoken to. She was one of them. I do remember something about glass fragments hitting her. Nothing about a bullet hitting her in the face. I mean, I didn't do the overall interview of her because there were several other witnesses, and then I had to deal with Diddy and then J-Lo. So there were the detectives that were in the Midtown South squad. They were pretty much conducting the interviews because that was their precinct. So they were taking over mostly of that. But she had said something about him shooting, but I don't remember totally about Puff had a gun. That's what I don't remember.
Tim, what is your...
What kind of investigator are you, bro? Everything was I don't remember about. The whole reason you're there to be interviewed is to tell them what you know, and you don't remember nothing. All right, you lost your spot.
Feeling on the sex trafficking allegations, because we've had these civil suits that started being filed.
We weren't here for feelings. We were here for facts.
Last year, somewhere around November or so. The first one was by Cassie.
Cassie, how many times, was there ever one time in all of that you weren't the victim? Just one time that you were in cahoots? You were part of the game? Or were you a victim every single time that it went down like that?
and that kind of opened up the floodgates. Others followed, including one by Little Rod, a man claiming he had been sexually assaulted by Sean Combs and even another actor, a really famous actor, Cuba Gooding Jr. Is this all, do you think this investigation stems solely from these allegations, or do you think there's just been this cloud of suspicion around Sean Combs for so long? And then we finally got some court documents that outlined something concrete, and the feds were like, you know what? It's time. We got to move on this guy, because there's always been some smoke.
Regardless, when it all went down, when the Lil Rod lawsuit came and the Cassie lawsuit came, was any of us that, you know, that are up there in age, that have been around the game since Pac was around, since Biggie was around, did any of us have any doubts in our minds like, oh, there could be some truth to that? Or like, was any of us surprised? I don't think any of us were surprised. Why? Because we've been hearing about this vaguely for all of these years. But nobody was surprised. Now, I'd be surprised hearing it from certain other people. This one wasn't surprising.
I'm puffy, not to, you know, no pun intended, but there's always been something going on with this guy, despite the glitz and the glamour and the Sean John and the, you know, the white party on Long Island and all of that.
Well, you know, the civil suits give you like a guide map before you have these crimes that have occurred, and somehow witnesses don't come forward or testimony is lost, and there's never enough evidence to prove it. Now you have these civil suits. And if these civil suits would have been settled privately before the lawsuits would have been filed, there may not have been enough information for the feds to get their attention and their...
Period. You hear that? He had to pay her. If he paid her on Monday, he should have paid her on Sunday. Because that's what happened. He negotiated. She was trying to squeeze him. She called his bluff. She filed the papers. And the next day, he was like, all right. I'll give you the money. By then... too late. Genie's out the bottle, buddy. Now, I don't know if you could put that genie back in the bottle.
And if these civil suits would have been settled privately before the lawsuits would have been filed, there may not have been enough information for the feds to get their attention and to go after him. But now you have witnesses and you had affidavits. You have people filing civil suits, meaning they're signing affidavits. This is what happened to me. It's probably consistent with what they thought for years. And now they have actual witnesses they can interview. And I think they took that information in those lawsuits and they used that to get the probable cause for the search warrants. Because now remember, now these witnesses are saying what happened to them. They need to get in there and see if the layout of the house is exactly what they say. They want to go in there and get any digital video. They want to get confirmation that on these dates, the rooms look like this. They're getting evidence. And it seems like at least the Southern District of New York, a federal judge has authorized probable cause that crimes have been committed and that the crime evidence is going to be found in those locations. Judges don't give search warrants, and these are high profile cases. And they went in heavy, okay? They were expecting guns and they didn't know what they expect, but
bro, they
went in heavy.
With that shit, man. Took the army up in there, man.
With manpower to get the evidence and search.
And it appeared from what TMZ was reporting, they had some exclusive photographs and things like that, that hard drives, electronic devices were seized. Of course, that would contain evidence. And, you know, there...
No camera there. Where is it? Is it right in here in this button? Huh? Is it in this bear? A lot of plush animals and shit. But again, he got what? How many kids he got? He got a bunch of kids.
There was some allegations by Little Rod that there were video cameras all over the place, possibly recording people in these sex acts, like that this was like an Epstein 2.0 situation. Obviously, Sean Combs is saying he didn't do anything wrong, but that's the allegation, Tim.
Well, remember, that's how the Hulk Hogan Bubba the Love Sponge thing blew up. He videotaped Hogan sleeping with his wife, and then I believe he leaked the tape.
Important thing is, not only do they have, I mean, it'd be great if they could find the videos, which I doubt, but if they can find the recording devices in each room, that would be consistent and that would corroborate the information from their witnesses. If they can show that there's cameras in each...
That's what dude's talking about. Show us that the bathroom was in this position of the house and you were over here, and this is, you know, same thing with the studio where they said the shooting of G happened. Show us that you know what you're talking about in this place, you know, corroborate that evidence.
room. That would help their case in bringing charges against, and it would give the credibility of the witnesses who filed these civil suits. There's an allegation that he gets these wealthy people in the rooms, they engage in either drugs or sex, pedophilic acts, and then they have them recorded, and then they blackmail them. That's what the allegation, that's what the rumor is. I don't know if it's true, but if they can find recording devices in each room, that would go a long way to giving some corroboration to these witnesses.
Just the camera. That's all they need. Just the camera.
Do you ultimately see, with all
Shorty, get your ass out of there.
all of this hoopla, surrounding the execution of these warrants, Tim, do you see a charge coming? Obviously, they went in there looking for evidence to corroborate the allegations. You have to have evidence. You can't just have somebody's word. So do we just wait and see what comes of the search warrant, or do you see them eventually filing some type of charge? And what would the timeline be for that?
Well, they're not going to go against Sean Combs, who's got plenty of money to have really good lawyers. They're not going to rush to a charge. The feds don't have to rush to a charge. They have the ability to pick and choose who they charge, what they charge. Homeland Security does most of the sex trafficking. So if they can prove, there's some elements they have to prove, that a minor was being shipped there or transported there for the sole purposes of engaging in sexual activity, and that Sean Combs in some way furthered that act to occur.
And that's it. Right there. That's the crux of it all. It's the underage girl or boys. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the freak shit they're doing, if it's not illegal, then it is what it is, But that's the one right there. They get one of those, just one. The whole house of cards comes crumbling down as far as I'm concerned.
Or did he benefit in some way? Did he blackmail people for it to occur? Did he gain financial benefit from it? There's a whole list of charges that can be filed. They arrested a small, I guess they call him his mule, his drug mule, 25-year-old. They arrested him on the scene with drugs. So you can rest assured that they are meeting with him, trying to get him to flip and cooperate.
And ese tiene cara de flipper. I'm sure they can't threaten him with too much before he says, man, hey, this was what went down. This is what's happening.
Sure that they are meeting with him, trying to get him to flip and cooperate.
There was an arrest in Tupac Shakur's murder. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, this is a case I've covered really extensively. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested and charged in Las Vegas for ordering the murder of Tupac Shakur and ordering his nephew, Orlando Anderson, to shoot and kill Tupac Shakur. And, Suge Knight was driving the car, so, possibly killing both of them. And there's always been this talk, Derek, that by Keefe D and others, that Sean Combs wanted Tupac and Suge dead. It was part of the East Coast, West Coast rivalry, and that Sean Combs possibly was offering as much as $1 million for some.
And let's just say he did all of this. Let's just say he's guilty, right? If he's guilty, was he doing this kind of shit back then, before megastardom, back when he started with Biggie? Was he on the same shit? Or would Biggie be shocked at this shit right now if he was alive? Like, I don't know.
Somebody to take them out. You kind of looked into this, so tell us what your feelings are on Keefe D's claims.
Well, I was out in Las Vegas when this, after the homicide occurred. I was working with the Las Vegas PD on that investigation. For what I remember, what I know is that I know that there was the East Coast, West Coast rift, because I had explained to the hierarchy here in New York about the Bad Boy, with Bad Boy versus Death Row, about how this whole thing started. What happens is that Orlando Anderson went out and he was in the car with 3 other people. All those 3 people are dead that were in the car with him. Right. So none of them were around. Keefe D was the only guy that was left, and he wasn't supposedly the actual shooter. He was in the car. So he gave up information incriminating himself on Vlad TV and other social media outposts, where he was saying that he was there, he knew about the car, he knew about the shooting. Now, there was a problem with Puff, or Diddy, Sean Combs, as we say, and Death Row Records with Suge Knight. There was a total beef with them because of the shooting that happened in Atlanta, with Jake Robles when he got killed, when one of Puffy's guys killed one of Suge's guys. So that beef stemmed from back then.
Facts.
But there was always this indication that Puffy paid or had money put up with another individual who's dead, named Zip, to provide protection money. Now, the thing with Orlando Anderson happened spontaneously because that happened at the MGM.
Exactly.
And when they got in the car, Orlando went after them because they had beat him up in the MGM casino in Las Vegas. So that's where that stemmed from. Now, everybody is saying there's a lot of different things about people saying, well, there was money paid for this, money paid for that. There was an allegation that money was put up for protection money. And the protection money might have included maybe the possible assassination of Suge or Tupac. So that's still up in the air. Nobody could really corroborate that. It's been said, but it's still out there in the case.
The thing that's interesting about this is that Keefe D claims that Zip Martin, who was friendly with Sean Combs, gave him the gun to kill Tupac and Suge. So obviously it is still up in the air, but Sean Combs's name came up quite a bit in the grand jury testimony, Derek. There was Reggie Wright, who was the head of security for Death Row Records, talked about Sean Combs a lot and was outlining this East-West rivalry, this East Coast, West Coast thing that was going on. So it's still up in the air. But do you think it was maybe like one of those things where it was all talk? Or do you think that there might be something there?
No, there's some truth to it. Listen, I've talked to several. Listen, I was one of the first detectives out there on that.
But do you remember?
On his homicide. And then the case went off, the Las Vegas, the problem you had in this case was that the Las Vegas PD and the Los Angeles PD and the Inglewood PD were at odds. There was corruption problems out in Los Angeles that stemmed with the Inglewood PD with Reggie Wright and his family. So there wasn't a lot of, I would say, cooperation between the departments. I mean, here it is for me coming out from New York, dealing with two departments was very difficult because there was a lot of things that were going on back then. But some of the things that were said were probably true. They just can't be corroborated right now. I know Zip very well. I spoke with him. I had him arrested when he came in New York on another case. I had warrants on him. And I had contacted LAPD to come out to talk to him when I had him. And those guys, it was Fred Miller and I think the gentleman who wrote the book Labyrinth, I can't think of his name, Russell Poole. They wouldn't come out. And I had Zip for warrants, and I had processed him through the system.
Russell Poole, for those that don't know the Russell Poole story, is another guy that was for many years saying, hey, this was a whole set-up situation here. He had a big conspiracy theory on the murder of Biggie and the murder of Pac. And there's movies made about him. Recently, Johnny Depp played him when he was finally coming with what people believe was going to be, his last piece of evidence. After losing his job, his family, he lost everything to that case. He went in to give that information up, and he passed away, had a heart attack right there on the table going in for the meeting with the police about what he had. He died right then and there. Very strange circumstance.
And I had Zip for warrants, and I had processed him through the system here in New York, but he would never talk to me. He said he couldn't snitch. He couldn't tell me what was really going on with that. And he kept that secret until his death.
Yeah, he died of cancer. So Zip Martin, you knew him. He just wouldn't talk.
That's correct.
So you're saying there's something to this, to the whole Sean Combs relationship.
I mean, there's a lot to it. It's just it has to be proven. It has to be proven. Zip was like the go-between for everything, and he's not here anymore. So you can't really corroborate what Keefe D is saying, even though it might have some credibility. But everybody in that car, or people that were involved, were dead. I think after the shooting of Tupac and the shooting of Biggie, there were several wars that took place in Los Angeles, where you had a lot of Crips and Bloods that were getting shot and killed. I don't know if you remember that, but
yeah, the 10-day
after
war.
these deaths, there was a lot of homicides out there that happened as a result of these two gentlemen's deaths.
So Tim, what do you make of that? Derek is saying it has to be proven, but there is something to it, and we've only got Keefe D's word right now about this possible Sean Combs tie to the death of Tupac Shakur. So do you think that's something, because Sean Combs' name came up so often in the grand jury testimony, do you think that is something that they are interested in, the prosecutors in Las Vegas? Because why else are we talking about Sean Combs in the grand jury testimony?
Well, of course, they got a witness in the grand jury. He doesn't have a lawyer in the grand jury, so he's got to answer questions. They're probably trying to get information from him so they can follow leads, called derivative use of it. They're not going to charge Sean Puffy Combs with murder based on Keefe D alone.
Right.
They got to have some evidence. And there probably is, right, that there is information and rumor and some pretty good sources that this was a hit, but they can't go forward just by what they think happened. And Keefe D is not going to be enough to convict Sean Puffy Combs.
I agree.
They need something more than that.
I agree.
As Derek said, most of the people that were involved in that shooting or in that car are all dead now.
All of them.
They're not available to be witnesses. So while they may be looking at it, maybe they want to build a RICO case, because it would maybe tag along with what the allegations are about the violence, sexual violence of black males, and show a history of violence that would make these people afraid, right? Make them afraid of Puffy Diddy, whatever. His name changes so often.
Dude had a whole Puffy fit. Couldn't figure out which name to use.
But if you have a history,
Puffy, yeah, I keep it. This is back in the Tupac era. It was Puffy, and then it was Puff Daddy, I think, and then now we're Diddy, and then I don't know. Sean John, that's the close, right? Okay, yeah. So I try to keep it all
But if he
straight.
has a history, Anjanette, of violence, of going against people, then it makes sense that he would be able to get away with this kind of, if these rumors or allegations are true, it would make sense he would be able to get away from it, or get away with it for so long, because people would be afraid. And if people know that you can get hurt, or, you know, snitches get stitches or worse, then people aren't going to come forward. And that's why the most important thing is to get evidence. And I think that's why the feds are taking so long. Normally, when you execute a search warrant like this on sex trafficking by the feds, they've already got enough to charge somebody.
Hi, everyone. Mark Barden here at Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012.
They're just getting everything, to just like the icing on top. But they're making sure, because of who the defendant might be, that they have everything they can possibly get. And they might charge him with RICO, build in everything they can build in, so that indictment looks very bad for the defendant.
Yeah, but again, I don't think the Tupac case will be anything that Diddy will ever do a minute at a time for.
Or the alternative, they may never charge him. I don't have any inside edition. But I think with the fact that they've executed these warrants after these civil suits, and apparently people are talking, I would assume that there's possibly going to be a federal indictment announced.
So is the investigation into Tupac's murder, does that fold into this? Do you guys see that happening? Tim, you first.
I think they could use it as not actual charges, but they can use it as acts, predicate acts in a RICO conspiracy.
I agree.
If they can show that to get a RICO, they want to show this is a criminal organization, ongoing, has been ongoing for years, and this type of violence and crimes started in '96 and continued all the way till 2024, and includes the allegations by the people in these civil suits.
Yep.
Derek, what are your thoughts on that?
I have to agree with him. They're
Thanks.
going to look for the predicate acts, and he could correct me if I'm wrong, but
they're going to just roll it all together and say, yeah, Biggie, Cassie, Jonathan Odie, everything, one time.
You can't use a co-conspirator's testimony against another individual. You need an independent witness to corroborate it. Am I right?
Well, you can use a co-conspirator statement. It's not hearsay, because if it's in furtherance of the conspiracy. That's why the feds always charge conspiracy, because statements made by someone else are not hearsay and they can be used. But it's hard to get a conviction just based on co-conspirator hearsay statements. But it has been done.
And just recently, I testified in the Jam Master Jay trial with the Eastern District. A month ago, they called me in as a witness. And in that case, I wrote in my book who the two perpetrators were, and they were convicted. But the feds brought in pretty much everybody on that case, over 30 witnesses, to testify, and they got a conviction.
Well, they always bring more than less in federal court.
And he definitely called that. He definitely called who did it to Jam Master Jay.
They know how to win in federal court.
Yeah,
The rules of evidence in federal court are different than state courts. In state courts, they exclude evidence, right? Federal courts, they include it. It's a rules of inclusion. So that's why conspiracy is so damaging to defendants in federal court.
He'll never see a day for doing anything to Pac, but they will use it against him however the best way is they can. Diddy dances, sips wine, and returns to social media after federal raids. He's living a life, man.
Worried about the raids on his Florida and LA mansions, he is not showing it. Wearing an orange towel around his neck, dancing in one photo.
Now, is this public relations, or is this just Diddy living the life he lived last week?
If Diddy's worried about the raids on his Florida and LA mansions, he is not showing it. Wearing an orange towel around his neck, dancing in one photo. In a white t-shirt with a bottle of wine, little Grigio there maybe, shirtless while puffing something, hey, and checking his phone in another. Diddy was spotted over the weekend at his $71 million Star Island double-wide compound for the first time since agents questioned him at a Miami airport. Diddy opted to ignore the elephant in the room as he returned to social media for the first time since those raids, posting these pictures of his...
And who was taking pictures of him out there dancing? What, they got drones and shit?
17-month-old daughter. He captioned the photos, "Happy Easter from Baby Love." Now, one of Diddy's sons, caught up in the chaos last week, appears to have broken his silence. 25-year-old King Combs, who was detained as agents searched Diddy's LA home, posted on Snapchat, "Stop with the cap." Translation, "Quit lying." A possible message directed towards those who have accused
Did see that.
his dad
Got
of
to mention
abuse,
it.
rape, and sex trafficking. Diddy has vehemently denied those claims.
Listen, I will wholeheartedly apologize. Ooh, we not playing that. I will wholeheartedly apologize if they find nothing. I'll be like, Diddy, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But if they find any illegality when it comes to underage women or forcing anybody to do anything, it's fuck you, man.